Welcome in Wednesday live chat for whatever your little heart's desire. I assume most of it will revolve around the Mexico Open and DFS lineups, one and done selections, bets to make. But I think there are 5 or 6 different organizations, major organizations playing this week. So whatever you want to talk about, I don't care. This time is yours. We generally spend an hour or so looking through the data, finding some interesting little nuggets, doing deep dives on golfers. A lot of them you may have never heard of for this week, but I'm not here to waste any more time. Let's just jump into it. Brian England with the first question of the day says, can we deep dive Brent Grant and Cameron Percy, please? Sure. So if you've been following along, Brent Grant is a long hitter, especially by size standards. He's not very big. He can move it. He's got upside, right? We saw him post, I think it was back-to-back weeks. He had like some 8 under a round or something like that, but he's been unable to put 4 rounds together. He's starting to find his feet, his feet on the PGA Tour. The T8 in Punta Cana, that's a great sign. Missed the cut at Valero. Missed the cut at Zurich. I don't really care about missing the cut at Zurich. It's a team event. It's weird. I can cut him some slack with that. Farmers, I think he got off to a hot start, finished T25, faded. I think he also got off to a hot start at Pebble Beach, finished T20. So it's not like he's got a bunch of great results or a bunch of bad results. He's a very volatile golfer. He hits it a long way. Not the worst guy that you could play. He is also, I believe, born and raised in Hawaii, or at least has a lot of ties to Hawaii, which if you want to use kind of some compy courses with, like Kapalua could be a decent comp course. There are some ways you could get to Brent Grant. Cameron Percy, let's check out Cam here. So we've got the miscut at Zurich. Again, I don't particularly care about that. Valspark T16, Punta Cana T68, Honda. He hasn't played a ton, and he's played okay. I doubt there's a ton of upside here, right? I'd almost rather take on the risk reward of Brent Grant. I think the first question tells you all we need to know, says Oliver. That's right. Can you tell us the recent Korn Ferry Tour grads that have performed well at their event here in the past? So it wasn't if I'm understanding your question, it was a PGA Tour Latino America event prior to this, which Austin Smotherman won it, but it was like 2017 or something like that. Let me see if I can find it real quick. I've not tried this, so bear with me. If I go to Smotherman, see, I don't think I have his. I don't know. I'm not going to have his Latino America stuff. I don't track that. So no, I thought I could pull up that old leaderboard and just filter by who's playing this week, but no, I'll have to add Latino America. And actually now it's the Mackenzie Tour, Canada and Latino America are now one tour. They announced that yesterday. PGA Tour Americas. So they're going to play like 16 events in Latin America. Then they're going to play like 16 events in Mexico or something like that. Pretty interesting. Maybe I'll start tracking that one as well. What does Gerard do? Or am I crazy for thinking about Grant, Gribble, or Werbelow as playable? We already talked about Grant. Let's do Gerard. So remember this conversation we were having about Ryan Gerard a couple of weeks ago, or maybe a month ago, where we were like, okay, like what version are we getting from him, right? He had that run where he gets hot, he Monday qualifies, he finishes 4th at Honda, gets into Puerto Rico, all that fun stuff, and we haven't seen that since then. So that's a little bit concerning that this was a flash in the pan that got him a special temporary membership status, and now we're not getting the best version of him. So I'm a little bit concerned about this. We still don't know a lot, but I think that we are learning that he might be an average to below average PGA Tour player. Still time will tell, but that's not generally as exciting. I will pull up Cody Gribble real quick. It's probably not a name that we've done a lot of deep diving on here recently, but he's got the T7 at Puerto Rico, the T7 at Valspar. He's made 4 of his last 5 cuts, and that one cut that he missed was Zurich. This is kind of a better stat profile, a guy that's trending generally in the right direction. I wouldn't mind that. That's where we're at this week. Interested to hear if you're comfortable with MJ Duffy. I looked him up earlier, and I didn't think the results were all that bad. So here he is. So again, you can include the T26 at Zurich, or you can get rid of it. But get rid of it, and before that, it's 6 straight 6 straight cuts made, including 3 straight top 30s. T15 at Valero. How's he doing it? Ball striking generally good. And then he's gotten a hot putter in his last 2 measured starts. This is pretty good. Not going to lie. So, yes, I am comfortable with MJ Duffy. I don't think he played this last year, did he? No, he did not. Yeah, that might be as good as you're going to get for guys in that range. Let's see what else we've got here. Clark versus Woodland. Generally a Wyndham Clark guy. I think that they are 2 different types of golfers, right? We're looking at the power rankings right now. Wyndham Clark over the last 36 rounds has been the second best player in this field behind Jon Rahm. That's been well documented on this channel. We've talked about it nonstop. Wyndham Clark's been great. He was in my newsletter last week. He's got like 14 straight events now where he's gaining fantasy points to the field. He's been absolutely phenomenal. Woodland, on the other hand, is to me much higher risk, much higher reward. So the ball striking numbers are great. So if we do the last 36 by ball striking alone, Gary Woodland's the second best player in this field behind Jon Rahm. The problem is he loses nearly a stroke on and around the putting surfaces. The good news for Gary is that a couple of things. Paspalum is generally better for bad putters, and over his last 3 starts, he's been a positive guy with the flat stick. So are we seeing tangible improvement from Gary Woodland? Yet to be seen. I think there's a chance he gains 4 strokes putting. I think there's a chance he loses 7 with the putter, right? I just think he is going to be much riskier than Wyndham Clark, who, again, well documented. I don't need to show you this, has been on a up and to the right trajectory with 3 top 6 finishes in his last 4 starts, hasn't missed a cut since Vegas, yada, yada, yada. We talked about this week in and week out. I think Clark is a little bit safer. I think Woodland is much more volatile. Shea Reve versus Mark Hubbard. So it's funny. So Reeves missed 6 straight cuts, and then he's got 2 decent starts in a row. T6 at Valero, T11 at Harbor Town. I do not think this is a good spot for him. Did he play here last year? He might have, actually. He did. 13th. Okay. Lost 3. Yeah, okay. I was going to say, the trouble Reeves going to have at this golf course is off the tee. He's very, very short, right? And he's accurate, but who cares? So he lost 3 strokes off the tee last year, made it up everywhere else, finished T13. I'm not quite prepared to buy this. I just think over time this is going to be a really, really bad spot for him. Hubbard, though, it's not like this is a great spot for Mark Hubbard either, right? Mark Hubbard is, let me pull up his stats here. You know, one of the shorter hitters on the PGA Tour, similar to Ches Reavie. They're short but accurate. So it's not like this is going to be a great spot for him. He's okay from kind of the long iron proximity buckets, and he misses, just as many cuts as Reavie does. Did Hubbard play here last year? He did. Finished 51st. So I'm not particularly excited about either of them. I think if I had to break a tie, I guess I'd go Reavie because of the history here, but it's not great for either one of those guys. Has Kevin Chappell found something? 4 straight cuts made in solo events and seems to improve with the irons. Curious is Sid about what I think. Okay, let's see it, Sid. 4 straight cuts in individual events. Bunch of top 30s in there. See, I guess the problem would be that, Puerto Rico and Punta Cana are 2 of those, which is we don't have the strokes gained metric. So he might have gained 10 strokes putting in those weeks. We have no idea. The good news is those are not bad comps for this, right? So yes, I would say I'm a 5.5, 6 out of 10 on Kevin Chappell if 5 is average. Hey, Rick, I think a lot of us are horrified at how high Stroud is in some of our models. Any insider guidance to offer, especially as a low-price DK guy? All right, well, let's see what you're putting into your models that is getting Chris Stroud to show up here. T5 at RSM, that was a long time ago. T15 at Puerto Rico. Couple missed cuts in there. What would you have put in to get Chris Stroud to be in your models? He doesn't hit it far. Oh, well, no, not even. What did you put in? 175 to 200? Is that what you put in? He's a decent par 5 scorer, actually. Yeah, I don't I think he's fine. I do not see anything that you should be super excited about here. Razor Sharp says, thanks, Rick, for all you do. Appreciate you. Can you do a deep dive on Alvarado Ortiz or Alvaro Ortiz? Here's what I have on him. It's not a ton of data. So as far as I can tell, unless I'm wrong here, he's played 3 Asian Tour events this year, or 2 this year. He was on the Corn Ferry last year. I'm assuming he lost his card. So unless I'm missing something, this is a pretty bad stat profile. You and Andy had a cool discussion on these player types. Would you rather bet someone you know has a winning pedigree like Woodland List or a young guy with unknown potential like Akshay or Højgaard? Generally the first. I do think that there are young guys that like Højgaard's won worldwide, right? So I'm okay with that. Akshay, who is someone who has been on our radar since he's been 16 years old, and I think we understand what the pedigree is, and he's found success at every age. I don't even lump those together with guys like Sam Stevens or Ryan Gerard, right? Like, which are both young and unknown. But I think in a field like this, there's the comp of I really like the Rose of the comp of Justin Rose. Justin Rose played. Former number 1 player in the world, played a very weak event, like the 3rd weakest event of the year at Pebble Beach, got into the mix, and he won it. I think when you get these guys in the mix, they're not going to forget, right? Woodland, who's got plenty of wins in the world, is not going to forget. Luke List, who's at least closed out a couple, right? It's not like Luke List is a prolific winner by any stretch of the imagination, but I think if you get some of these guys in the heat of the battle, they're not really going to forget how it goes. Rick, when thinking about distance being important this week, what is your read on Finau's club head speed dropping from 122 miles an hour to 117? Let's look at it. Is Tony getting older, Chris? Right? Is that the case? Right? Is it just an issue of him aging? I mean, it hasn't really impacted a lot. He's still great off the tee. Yeah, I don't know. It's a good question. I don't have any read on it, but other than maybe he's getting a little old, not cutting it loose as much. I don't think it's that big of a deal. How likely is it that Jon Rahm will tie Tiger Woods and Vijay Singh's with 9 wins this year? Probably very unlikely. The golf is just too deep right now, and he's got 4 PGA Tour wins. I know he's got a couple of European Tour wins, but I think it's 4 PGA Tour wins, Tournament of Champions, Riviera, the Masters, and did he win the American Express? Which one am I missing? I'll pull it up. Feels like I'm missing one though. He won, American Express. Okay. So 5 more in the events that he's going to play. Like, even if we give him this one, which is no small task, he's going to have to beat 140 golfers. So he's at 5. He's got to get 4 more, and he's probably only going to play elevated events the rest of the way. Maybe when we get to the playoffs, right? Like if you count, BMW Championship, smaller field, you count the Tour Championship, smaller field, but very, very unlikely. I think just golf is too deep, but he's been phenomenal. Is this a good course fit for Benny On? So let's look at this. So what would make it a good course fit for somebody? So I believe that it is ideally someone who can hit it far off the tee, which Ben can. I think it is ideally someone that can hit their long irons very well. So again, I'm not a proximity bucket guy, but look at like 4 buckets in a row. Here's 175 to 275. He ranks outside the top 114 in all of those. That's a little bit concerning. He's much better from closer. So there's a couple of holes here that are going to be fine, but there's a lot. If you look at the scorecard, right? This is a 500-yard par 4, 520. 500, 475, 505, right? The par fives. There's 2. One of them 603, another one's 637. It's a long golf course. The 3 of the par 3s are 195 yards or longer. So while he hits it far, I worry about kind of the rest of this. And then, he's historically a very, very bad putter, but on Paspalum, I'm actually less worried about that this week because he's been putting better, and Paspalum should generally be a better spot for him. Not a blanket statement, but I don't think this is a great spot for Benny On. Do you have any PGA futures? I do not. I think that, I've been keeping an eye on the future market, and I haven't pulled, I didn't think the top end was great. So you're kind of like trying to find that guy that's going to peak, right? You're trying to find that Cam Young who's going to go on a run and be much shorter 6 months from now. Like who would that be? Is that guy going to be Sam Burns? Like, are we on the verge of a Sam Burns win at a major championship, right? He's got to start playing better at major championships. He seems to be rounding into form. I don't know what his number is or how it's changed for Oak Hill, but someone like that, like you're just trying to catch somebody on this little upswing. Otherwise, you might as well just wait until the week of. Now, I will say, I'll be at Oak Hill this year, so very stoked about it. Probably be there Monday night, so you might see content from the road for that week, but I should be out on the golf course Tuesday, should be out on the golf course Wednesday, so should have plenty of intel from Oak Hill golf course, players-wise, everything like that. Do you have any interest in Carson Young at 6,600? So Carson Young should have won the Puerto Rico Open. And I shouldn't say that. I think he was just like 6 shots clear going into the weekend. We've seen much larger leads blown with fewer holes. So I'm not going to blame that on him. But yeah, I mean, he's a solid player, right? I mean, he's gained strokes ball striking in 5 of his last 7 measured events. He's going to miss some cuts. All of these guys who are at his price are going to. He showed us a little bit of upside here at Puerto Rico, showed us a top 20 at Harbor Town, which was obviously a stacked field. This is going to be much, much weaker than that. He doesn't hit it very far, which is a little bit of a concern. He's not great with his long irons, but maybe he just goes out and gets it done. I don't know. I like his game when I see it. So yeah, call me a 6 out of 10 on this. Rick, I'm leading my 20-person one and done. Who do you think will be the 3 chalky plays other than Finau or Rahm? Woodland will be very popular. Wyndham Clark will be very popular. Now, I suppose you don't necessarily care as much, Matt, right? You don't, if you're leading, just pick the best guy. Finau or Woodland, or it doesn't matter, right? But those 3 are going to be pretty popular. Some guy at the Maple Leafs game the other day was eating licorice with mayo. Yikes. What's the weirdest food combo you like? No, I'm a pretty picky eater. The weirdest thing that I like, probably nothing. I don't venture. Luke List on the promo and in Rick's season-long team. Yeah, scary stuff, right? But listen, I don't bet Luke List, right? I know there are a lot, like you might have bet List 100 times in the last 5 years. I haven't. So it's very easy for me to take a stab here, right? And if I'm wrong, I'm down, 1 unit on Luke List. And it's not that big of a deal. If there was ever a spot for him, if there was ever a time for him, wouldn't it be now? Probably will not win. Here's a follow-up question. So Civic Boy says, Rick Run Goat. How did the card build go this week? So disclaimer, just like this is what I bet. Go bet whatever you want. I don't care. I only made 2 bets. I thought long and hard about Jon Rahm. Did not do it. I bet Wyndham Clark at 20-1. I bet Luke List at 70-1. It's all I have in right now. I also then thought about, because I would still have a lot of wiggle room to get like 5 guys over 100-1, right? Like if I wanted to go Dylan Wu, if I wanted to go someone like Augusto Nunez, right? Like that I will probably do. I will probably put in a Dylan Wu. Let me see what number I can get on Dylan Wu right now. But I've left myself some flexibility to kind of go deeper down the board if I want to throw some darts, which I think is a very fair thing to be doing this week. So I can get Dylan Wu at 110. I'll probably add that. And I could get Augusto Nunez at 150. So I'll probably do that. So the final card will likely be Clark, List, Nunez, and Dylan Wu. I think that's pretty fair. Rank these 3. Norlander, EVR, Gim. EVR, Gim, Norlander. Anyway, we can see the strokes gain distribution 4 and 5. Will this help for first round leaders? I believe it will. So here's the golfer power rankings. Here's strokes gain distribution. I'm going to go, I'll open this up a little bit, last 50 rounds. So guys that gain the percentage of time and how often they gain 4 or more strokes to the field. Jon Rahm does it 42% of the time. That is insane. It's more than twice as often as the next guy. Nico Echeverria does it 16% of the time. Akshay 14, Aaron Rai 12, bunch of guys at 12. Wyndham Clark's at 12, Will Gordon's at 12, Patrick Rogers is at 12. So then you also look at guys that are gaining 5 or more to the field. Akshay, Harry Higgs, Nico again, a lot of the same names. Bo Hostler's in here as well. But yeah, I do think this does help for first round leader, right? I mean, if you're going to be the first round leader, what are you going to have to gain? 6, 7 strokes to the field, something like that? you might as well look at how often a golfer is capable of doing it before you start firing away. Jay-Z is here. Welcome, Jay. Slick Rick, I'm in that run good state of mind. Welcome. Hove is laying the blueprint in this big one and done, but doesn't have Finau or Clark and doesn't want to play Woodland. Who else could a bro consider? Well, thank you, Jay, for showing up. Yeah, so that's probably a common problem. You know, you don't have Finau, you don't have Clark, and Woodland's going to be really, really volatile and really, really popular. So unless you're looking for volatile and popular, which you're generally not two things that go together, you got to find another guy. I think it might be Patrick Rodgers. So here's Rodgers. And, you know, don't throw tomatoes at me, right? I get it. It doesn't win, hasn't won, all that fun stuff. 5th in Texas, 19th at RBC Heritage. Again, that was an elevated event. 14 strokes ball striking across those 8 rounds. This thing that I put out in my newsletter, if you've not subscribed to my newsletter, you should. It's free. RickRunGood.com/newsletter. There's a link in the description. This is the newsletter from this week. So I'll show you where Patrick Rodgers comes into play here. So there's this problem we have with Paspalum where this strain of grass that generally is only found in places in which ShotLink is not available. So how do we say who are the best guys on Paspalum? Well, we can compare how they play on Paspalum and strokes gained total to how they do at all other golf courses, their baseline. And while that doesn't inherently say they putt well on Paspalum, I think there is a level of assumption that you could take that leap. It's not a huge leap to take. So the other thing that shows up in favor of Patrick Rodgers is his baseline doubles on Paspalum compared to non-Paspalum golf courses. And now this is all golfers who have at least, I think I did 20 rounds. So I did have a minimum in here, which is why you don't see John Rahm. So Finau improves, McNeely improves, Rodgers improves. Then you get big improvements from Emiliano Grillo, Alex Smalley, Adam Long, Ben Martin. You get some losers, some guys that lose, like Ben Taylor, Mark Hubbard, Will Gordon, Peter Malnati. Like, this is the stuff you're getting in the newsletter, so I don't know why you would not subscribe to that. But that's probably the answer, Jay. Good luck. Would it be crazy to create lineups with Finau and Rahm? You can get some decent value in a weak field like Goya, Gerard. Yes. Okay, so I have done this. I've done this a bit. So my general idea being, here's the cheat sheet again, RickRunGood.com. You should go sign up. My general idea is that once you're past golfer 20 in this field, is anybody that much better than another? You know, is Robbie Shelton tangibly better than Adam Long? Is Charlie Hoffman tangibly better than Nico Echeverria? Echeverria just won a couple starts ago. You know, is Callum Tarren tangibly better than Tano Goya? My answer is probably not. So I have kind of gone down here. I do think there's some interesting names. I mentioned Augusto Nunez. He's $7,000. I do not mind Alejandro Tosti. They open up a little bit of flexibility. I don't even mind like Nick Watney. There's some decent options down here. So yes, you can do it. Here's the question about Nunez. So we've talked about Nunez a bit on this show. I've played him in single entry lineups multiple times in the last couple of months. So here's what you like about him, right? He is starting to find his stride a little bit. Missed the cut at Valspar. Other than that, he's made 6 of his last 7. And since the year started, he's only missed 2 cuts. He missed the one at the American Express. He missed the one at Valspar. But when you start looking at course fit and you realize he's 27th on tour and club head speed, he's 42nd in driving distance on all drives. So in this field, cut it in half. He's probably 20th in driving distance in this field. Maybe better, maybe 15th. Then you look at all of his proximity buckets. 175 to 200, 16th. 200 to 225, 69th. 225 to 250, 5th. 250 to 275, 15th. So basically, let's just call it top 50 in all of those. And some of them a lot better than that. I like Nunez. I like the way that his game sets up here better than a lot of the other places we've seen. And if you go back, I mean, certainly no scrub. Here was how he finished his Korn Ferry Tour year. third, sixth, third, fifth runner-up, right? That was right before their playoffs. He's got plenty of game. Plenty of game. Other than Rahm, who would be the best putter and long game combo in the field? Wow, actually, okay, so we could just do this. Let's just go to the custom model. Watch this. This is going to be pretty cool. So you'll have to decide what you want to call long game. Here's the custom model, RickRunGood.com. So I'll call it, let's just do this. Let's do 33 weights on, well, actually, no, we got to do, if we want a third to be putting, wait. If we want half to be putting, and have to be these approach buckets, we've got to do 25 on 175 to 150, 25 on 200 to 225, and then we'll just do strokes gained putting, last 50 rounds or something like that for the other 50. The best combos are, so John Rahm, number 1. Finau is number 2. Ben Taylor is 3, though we've got concerns about PrizePicks. Andrew Novak, S.H. Kim, Mav McNeely, Austin Eckroat, Patrick Rogers, Ryan Moore, and Bryce Garnett. That's your top 10. Pretty cool way to do that with the custom model, right? Just to kind of hone in on a couple of little nuggets there. I prefer Lee Biota over Gerard. It's close, though. One and done, middle of the pack. Finau or Clark, would you prefer to use either anywhere else? If you're in the middle of the pack, you probably shouldn't be using Clark here, unfortunately. It's just going to be too popular. I don't mind using Finau. Spoiler alert, in some of my one and dones, I'm in 6 of them, I've used Tony Finau. I think that, well, first off, I know that basically he's used in half the field, so already half the field cannot use Tony Finau. You're getting a lot of win equity, and like, where are you going to feel comfortable playing Finau at another elevated event? Are you going to play him at the 3M Open or something if he plays that? That's not an elevated event. It's going to be the same situation here. He's probably going to have longer odds there. Like, I decided to use Finau. This says, do we auto play Matt Wallace in weak field? So another thing that I sent out in my newsletter, and I didn't see Matt Wallace's name, but here are the best players in weak fields. So basically a strength of field under 200. Rahm is number 1, but he's only got 4 rounds. So guys with bigger sample sizes, Adam Long, Alex Smalley, David Lipsky, Cam Percy, Cam Champ, Andrew Novak, Emiliano Grillo. So now Grillo shows up, and there is a little bit of crossover here, but like PrizePicks shows up in weak fields. Not bad, right? Showing up in a couple of these little trends. There's Chris Stroud, by the way, weak field Chris Stroud. Can we do a deep dive on McNeely? Yeah, unfortunately, I don't think there's going to be a lot to look at. I don't know if he is still injured. Remember, he was hurt, and then he withdrew from Phoenix and took some time off. And since he's come back, it's been really, really bad. And, the fact that he is still basically hemorrhaging strokes in the ball striking categories, hemorrhaging from tee to green, this looks like an injured golfer to me who's trying to play through it. I hope that's not the case. I hope he's healthy and he's just trying to get his game back. But I'm going to need to see something before he starts getting some of my dollars again. So Alan would like to see another model. So sure, we can do this any number of ways. Let me just reset this real quick. The way that I would probably do this would be to use driving distance for like 15. I would then probably put 18 on, well, I'll tell you what, I'll do it this way. I'll do strokes gained approach last 36 for 10. But then what I'll do is I'll do the long iron play for another 10. Okay, so it's 20, but it's skewing for the long irons. Then just to be fair and to put a complete thing in, I'll do strokes gained around the green last 50, but just for 10 there, and then strokes gained putting, we'll put 15 there, last 50, just a little bit longer term in the short game categories. Then what I want to do is I want to do long courses. We'll put 15 on long courses. We will put we've got 25 left. Let's do birdie or betters gained for all of it. Rahm number 1. I don't think I've run a model this week that Rahm hasn't been number 1. I really don't think I have. Rahm 1, Finau 2, Rogers 3, Wyndham Clark 4. Pretty chalky so far. Norin 5, Alvaro Ortiz 6. I don't have a lot of data on him. We saw that. McNeely 7, Benny on 8, not bad. Eric Cold is 9. That's a pretty big, being 9th and $7,500 is pretty interesting. SH Kim is 10. Woodland's 12th. Yeah, interesting. So we've got a deep dive request on Lashley. I think he played well here last year. Am I remembering that right? Or am I thinking of somebody else? Made the cut at the RBC Heritage, missed his 2 before that. Was actually playing pretty good golf here from Phoenix to the Players Championship. I would take all of that. A bunch of elevated events in there as well. The approach play has been pretty sound since then. Putter's starting to come. This isn't bad. It's really not for this guy. And he finished T11 here last year. Okay, I can get behind this. When he's losing, he's not losing huge. The approach play's been there basically the entire time. I don't think he hits it very far. He doesn't, but you're not going to find the perfect guy. There's only one John Rahm. Which NBA, NHL playoff team should I now we're talking. Should I parlay an outright ticket with Rahm on? Now we got this. What are the Lakers at home tonight? I guess I could look. Are the Lakers at home tonight? Let's see. Armina says probably not, because our friends are season ticket holders and we don't think they're going. So I don't think they are. They're in Memphis. Okay, so that's solved. Take the Lakers and John Rahm. My weekly ask for projected one and done ownership. Yeah. All right. So again, officefootballpool.com allows you to see site-wide picks, not for your pool, site-wide picks. There's no cheating happening here. Oh, I would show you. Okay, I can show you this because this is like a friends and family pool. So you'll see who I picked, but it's not in ours. Okay, this is a different pool. Friends and family. There's only like 30 of us. Finau number 1, 23%. Wyndham Clark 21%. Gary Woodland 17.5. So I'm leading this 30-person one and done, or 40-person one and done. So I took Gary Woodland 17.5. After that, Patrick Rogers 7%. John Rahm, Brandon Wu, Emiliano Grillo sub 5. Nikolai Højgaard sub 4. Like Luke List at 1% is not bad. All right, there you go. Do you have a bet to match Patrick and KB for the NFL draft? I literally didn't even know the draft was this Thursday until they put those bets out on the show. I was like, oh, okay. I don't. No, I have no idea. Will a running back be drafted in the first round? That doesn't happen anymore, does it? I honestly really don't know. Sorry. Rick running well, as ever. Thank you. Playing a Cascade, tough to choose around the 8K price point. Lots of fun potions. Ooh, that's a good word. Yeah, so let's talk about that kind of 8K-ish range, right? So you said like around 8K. I don't mind SH Kim. He passes the eye test, and he just showed up in that model that I ran. So I don't mind that. We said MJ Duffy's kind of interesting, right? Probably better than expected. I'm pretty much in on Luke List, so you can just chalk that miscut up. Those would probably be my favorite 3. And then Nate Lashley wasn't so bad. So if you can figure out something in that range, I think you'd be okay. All right, so we're getting the questions about the new studio. Yeah, so this is I'm in a little different place now. Still have the other, so we're splitting some time between places. So this is kind of the secondary studio, still very much a work in progress. Camera looks good though. This is the high quality camera that we always have. Mina's, we're doing some decorating in the back. I thought it was cool on the shelf. We've got stuff from a bunch of different places. Replica Claret Jug. That's just a replica trophy. This reminds me of Torrey Pines, Players Championship, BMW Championship. That's a Brooks Koepka bobblehead from Houston. This is, Sung J M from Memphis. That's a championship belt. This is John Rahm in Phoenix on a canvas that's me right there. So yeah, we're you'll see this a little bit. We're kind of splitting time places. But yeah, it's coming along. So thank you for noticing. I've answered a lot of these, which is good. Okay, this is another good guy I want to talk about. I mentioned him briefly, and I probably talked about him on the Monday show, but Alejandro Tosti, I believe is how he says it. It might be Toasty. It might be, I don't know. I mentioned this on Monday, I believe, and I'll share my screen. He's been playing great on the Corn Ferry, right? So he's made 5 of his last 6 cuts on the Corn Ferry. All of them are top 30s. I'll give him this T31. He finished T10 a couple of weeks ago at the Veritex Bank Championship. Also, I mentioned this. He was 2 shots better at the Lecom Suncoast Open, and he got the most ridiculous penalty you've ever seen. Him and his group, they took a shuttle ride in a golf cart from a volunteer that was unauthorized, and he got a 2-stroke penalty. So whatever that finish would have actually been better. So I like this guy. I like him a lot. Favorite play in the mid 7K range. I like Eric Cole. I do not mind Akshay. And I think that Dylan Wu, Dylan Wu's been like objectively one of the better players in this range all season long. So I probably focus around those 3. Does Tiger get a big PIP fine for not playing enough events like Rory? So in short, I have no idea. Probably not, because it's not just the number of events. There are other ways to get your PIP payment. Like you can do, not a media day, but you can do like a clinic for a sponsor or something like that. Like there are other ways to get it. And I imagine they're letting Tiger to do other ways. Do we have any info on Sebastian Vasquez? First of all, has anybody noticed how good my Spanish is? Me llamo Ricardo. No, it's not actually that good. But I was hoping somebody would be like, wow, he's got some pretty good, like a pretty good accent. Sebastian Vasquez. Whoa. Is this a troll, Shane? Do we have any info? Looking for a super cheap guy and saw his history at this event, even though it's from a different course. I'm very confused by that. So the information that I have on Vasquez is that he has missed 15 cuts in a row. I saw his history at this event. Well, his history at this event. Oh, did he win it? He must have won did he win the PGA Tour Latino America? Maybe that's what we're talking about. Yeah, different course. Would have been a couple of years ago. Out. Does betting tournament matchups in golf have a lot in common with money line bets in other sports or not at all? Sure. I guess from a sense of like, there's no spread, right? So it's just like saying, are the Chiefs going to win or are the Eagles going to win? Is John Rahm going to win or is Tony Finau going to win? So sure, I think that's fair. Who are your top 10 golfers right now in the world? Off the top of my head, John Rahm, Scotty Scheffler, Rory McIlroy, Patrick Cantlay, Xander Schauffele, Max Homa, Colin Morikawa, Victor Hovland, Finau, Justin Thomas. I'm definitely missing somebody, right? Because I don't think Finau would have been in there. Armina said Adam Scott. No, that doesn't count. Matt Fitzpatrick I missed. Fitzpatrick would definitely be in there. Get Finau out. And when healthy, Zalatoris, but that stinks for him. Spieth is close. Cam Smith would be close, I guess. All right, that was fun. Top 3 players in the 6K range. Toasty or Toasty. I don't mind Brent Grant. We talked about him a little bit. I don't mind Nico Echeverria. And that's probably it. It's a very, very bad range. Straight up, who would you take the following to perform the best? Ben-On, Grillo, Smalley, Martin. Grillo. I know you're kind of high on this guy as I am. Nico Echeverria seems like a perfect fit. Agreed. Okay, here's a deep dive on Will Gordon request. Yeah, we haven't talked about Will Gordon in a long time, right? Was really hot, was making everybody all the money, right? Coming back up from the Corn Ferry, boom, 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 got off to a hot start. His 2023 hasn't been nearly as good. I have to cough, excuse me, guys. Apologies. 2023 hasn't been good. I got to admit, I think I saw that he was going to be like popular this week or whatever. I don't really get it. Yes, he hits it far. Actually, it doesn't even hit as far. This is so. When you see this, what do you think? Third in club head speed, 94th in driving distance, all drives. So there's only two answers here. He either has a horrible smash factor, right? If you're third in club head speed and 94th in driving distance, you are not squaring it up. You are hitting it off the toe, you're hitting it off the heel, you have a horrible smash factor. Or you are not hitting driver everywhere. And you are hitting a shorter club much more frequently than your peers are. I don't know what the answer is with him. He's decent in the long iron, pretty darn good in the long iron categories. So I guess that's what everybody's looking at. But man, this has been, I don't like it when you have like a break and then a guy comes back and doesn't look the same. And 2023, he's just not been good. His best finish is a T36 at Valspar. He hasn't driven it as well. I'm not as hot on him as everybody else is. Yeah, Travis figured it out. So it says love the ROM photo. Yeah, so I you might have seen it by now. I'm right here on a knee. That's at Phoenix. It's hole number 10 or 11. Armina did a great job with this. We found this photo. So Joe Musso from CBS Sports HQ is right here. So Joe, we actually happened to, Joe knew the photographer. We don't know how, I don't even know how we got access to this photo, but Joe like knew the photographer and we got access to the high res version of this photo and Mina had it printed on a canvas. It's sick. I mean, it looks great in person too, but yeah, it was awesome. Really cool. So I was like, wow, that's like just a great action shot of Jon Rahm in general. And I happen to be in it. We need something for the backdrop. Well, she did that, but I was like, this is just a great photo in general. Yeah, so Matt Gannon says he's buying the course fit for Pendy and Mav. I don't know if I necessarily agree with McNeely, but the Pendrith stuff, right? Like if you're just ignoring how he's played recently, this should be the perfect spot for Pendrith. You know, bombs away, right? And I'd argue his pedigree is like top 30 in this field, right? You know, President's Cupper didn't go very well, but like I believe in this guy. Hey, Rick, have you ever wondered, or I've often wondered why more people don't hit the like button? Yeah, I mean, maybe if I asked like, hey guys, can you hit the like button and make sure you're subscribed and all that stuff, maybe that would help. I guess we'll find out. If you're just outside the money and one and done, any difference in strategy between choosing a player in designated events, non-designated events, and majors? Yeah, I mean, for sure. You should be, so let's assume you're like in the 21st percentile or something like that, or the 79th percentile. Yeah, you should be like not taking the favorites. You don't have to go super contrarian, but you should be finding like the 8% owned guy who can win, something like that. What percentage do you think Rahm cares about this? 100%. John Rahm, I can assure you, does not show up to play golf without trying to win. He's different. I do not like comparing people to Tiger Woods. No one is comparable to Tiger Woods. In the current era of me being out on golf courses and interacting with these guys and seeing them in the mix, Jon Rahm is different than everybody else. And he does not show up without trying to not just win, but destroy. I'm serious. Very serious. Can we do a deep dive on Tano Goya? I think that's warranted. He's been good. Dare I say he's been great. I don't know if I want to say that. But missed the cut at Zurich, don't care. Missed the cut at Valspar. Other than that, bunch of made cuts. T11 in Puerto Rico, T35 in Punta Cana, great little crossovers. The game's all over the place, right? I would not look at this stat profile and say, wow, Tano Goya is good at X. I also wouldn't say, wow, he's bad at Y. I just wouldn't do it. But yeah, he's decent from the long iron ranges. He's another guy that's got probably a smash factor issue, 40th in club head speed, 97th in driving distance on all of his drives. It's not bad. It's certainly not bad. I think that's this you're talking about. Okay. So Jason is referring to Nikolai Højgaard, and he's referring to this breakout candidates chart. It's on the trends tool. So Højgaard is in the second best quadrant. The best quadrant to be in is over here. Good tee to green play, unlucky putting. Bo Hosser, DJ Trahan, Jonas Blix, Matt Wallace, Alex Smalley, Brandon Wu, Eric Cole, etc. Højgaard's over here, which is a little bit lucky with the putter, but still good from tee to green. Kevin Chappell, Kevin Tway, Trevor Werbelow, Ben Martin are others. So yeah, it's not the best, but it's the second best. Didn't Tony Finau talk about how he's trying to find the sweet spot and how hard he needs to swing? Thought I heard that. I don't know. Maybe, Brett. It would probably ask a lot of questions or answer a lot of questions. Ownership pivots by range. Okay. So Jon Rahm obviously going to be 50% owned. So the pivot there is like literally anybody else. Finau would be half of that. Wyndham Clark, less than half. My favorite pivot in the 9K would be Pendrith at 5% off of a 17% Højgaard, a 5% Pendrith, but nobody's really garnering a ton of ownership. The 8K range, it's going a lot to Steven Yeager at 14%. I think half of that, SH Kim, 7% would be your logical pivot. MJ Duffy as well, 7.5. Not a ton of other guys in the double digits, but if you wanted to go to a 5% Brandon Wu or a 6% Eric Cole instead of a 12% Will Gordon, I think that'd be fair. If you want to get off a 12% Harry Hall and go to a 4% EVR, Eric Van Rooyen, I think that'd be okay. And I don't think you need to get off of a lot of these guys, but yeah, those are probably your logical pivots. And I just lost my spot, which is always fun. I accidentally scrolled all the way up. Okay, so here we go. I'm getting back here. What do you think of the stat that no Masters winner has gone on to win in April or May since Phil Mickelson? Don't care. I answered I answered a lot of these, which is good. Unique situation. I haven't missed a cut yet in one and done, and we track a side pot for most consecutive cuts. Picked Rogers, but what's the confident level? That's fine. Yeah, he's got like the fourth or fifth best odds. He's probably 80% to make the cut. If you get burned, you get burned. But I don't think you should burn Rahm because of a side pot for most consecutive cuts, Tom. Also, even if your streak ended now, what are we at? 14, 15? That might be good enough, wouldn't it? There's a Cam Champ argument because of his skill set. It won't be for me. Okay, that's good that I answered these. It's good that I answered these. There was a good one I wanted to do. Okay, Daniel's got a Lanto question. Every time I see that guy's name, I'm like, oh, I could play Lanto. But Lanto, I believe, just for context, I believe he had the surgery Will Zalatoris just had, but he had it like 8 months ago, right? He had it after the John Deere, right? So he was out from July to January. Pretty sure it was the same or similar surgery. So he's still working back from that. Hasn't played a whole lot. T16 at a Corn Ferry Tour event, T15 at Valero, and a missed cut are his last three. I don't love the metrics since his return, right? Relying on the putter. Hasn't been very good at tee to green in a while. When he was playing well, he was a good approach player. He was a good putter. I'll take a pass and wait and see, especially when you have an event like he had, a surgery. I will wait and see, right? Because we kind of heard a little bit from Will that was like, he had to make changes to his swing and his setup. So I'm going to hold off. Am I fluent in Spanish? No. Armina is, though. Who's the Jock Market pick tonight? Okay, so Jock Market is, actually it's two things now. It's Stock Market DFS, which is sick. So I'm almost at the end of questions, I think. So I can spend a minute here. So Jock Market from last year, Jon Rahm sold for $13 a share, $12.99, the most expensive IPO ever. on the Wednesday night before, but he won, so we got the $25 payout. So even someone like Kurt Kitayama was 376 last year, got the $18 payout for finishing whatever that was, third. So if you look at the leaderboards for this event, for Mexico Open, Eric Cole's been a killer in the Jock market. Average 65% ROI in his last 10 starts. Ben Martin, 55% in his last 10 starts. Dylan Wu, 47%. Wyndham's been great. I'm just trying to look through and see, finding someone who's playing well and who would be a good course fit. Where's Patrick Rogers? He's missed a couple. Here's Rogers. So he's been a small winner, 4.8%. Doesn't usually go for too expensive. And I think this is a good setup for him, and he's playing better. I think he would be a pretty interesting Jock market guy tonight. They also added props as well. So there's golf props and the 4 major sports props. So they had that, and they have the stock market game. You can sign up with the link in the description. There's a code Rick. It gets you another $100 deposit bonus. Why are so many golfers named Cam? Naming your baby Cam give he or she a better chance of being a good golfer. Seems that way. Seems that way. A lot of Cams, a lot of Taylors. Taylor could be a boy or a girl, right? Lots of, is that it? Bens? Lots of Bens? Hey, Rick, thanks for doing these. Curious if you have any strategy, if you have any strategy changes year to year for one and done based on total winnings. Example, 25% had Scheffler for the players, so everyone is playing catch up. Year over year for one and done based on total winnings. I'm not sure I understand that completely, Tom, but yeah, right? Like I play my position and I play how many people have each golfer left every single week, right? I'm playing my position, I'm playing the purse, and I'm playing what everybody else has already done, right? Like this week, I know 50% have already used Tony Finau. So in leagues that I'm towards the top, I've decided I'm willing to go Tony and get a pretty big positive EV moment. And I know that half of you can't use him even if you want to. Will there ever be a Bob Does Sports versus First Cut pod match? I doubt it, but how sick would that be? Listen, I don't consume like a lot of the, like I respect what the good guys do, but I do not think I'm their target market, right? I respect what the Barstool guys do. I do not think I am their target market. The Bob Does Sports guys, and I've met them, they're just like regular guys. I think they're pretty funny. So I like what they do. I do. Bob's a good guy. FP's a good guy. I don't think I've met Joe, but they're good guys. If they want to play me, Mark, Greg, and KP or whatever, like let's set it up. I don't know why they would want to do that, but I'm in. Should I use Tony Finau? I see. Okay, so let's talk about this, right? Like, what is Tony Finau worth saving? That's really the only question that you have. So, are we going to assume he's going to play 3M Open again as a defender, right? Like, I think we assume he's going to play that. He's probably going to be one of the favorites. Is he going to play Rocket Mortgage again and try to defend there? Now, the schedule is very different this year. So the schedule, like, he's probably not going to play Rocket Mortgage, right? Because it's Memorial, which is an elevated event, week off, Canadian Open, which he might not play, US Open, then Travelers, which is an elevated event, then Rocket Mortgage. So I doubt he's going to play 4 out of 5 to get back to the Rocket Mortgage. And then the 3M is right after the Open Championship, and then there's only another week at the Wyndham before you start the playoffs. So really, there's a chance he doesn't play any of those. So there's a chance you're only getting him at majors and elevated events the rest of the way. And if you're getting him at majors and elevated events, which ones would be best for him? Well, or are you going to feel comfortable playing him because he's going to be what, 25-1 at all of these things? I've decided he is not worth saving. The unknown schedule for him and the huge differences between purses at the events that he would be best to save versus the events that he's likely to play is too big. The delta is too big. Kevin says, Rick, it needs to be said, I really appreciate all you do. Best insight in the game, your website and model are on point. I appreciate that. Ridiculous that there are 242 people watching and 38 likes. Yeah, I don't get all worked up about the likes and the subscriptions. Like, I think that the people who there's a reason that we have a really good community, right? And the Slack channel is great. And people who follow me on Twitter are great, right? It's just like, if you're the nerd who is interested in all this and like you're in this, like I think it's a pretty small group of people. So I'm okay with that, right? When you start, like if we had 1 million people subscribe to this channel, it would probably be a lot more toxic. It would probably be pretty crappy. But no, I appreciate it. I'm happy to grow as it grows. For your data, would you recommend using projected points? Woodland very low. Yeah, so I love the projected points stuff on the custom model, but it generally lags. Okay, so guys that are like starting to get hot right now, like 2 or 3 starts, it's not going to pick them up as quickly, which is good. I'm fine with that, but I wouldn't. I mean, they're great, but I use a lot of the weighted stuff. One and done question. I have Rahm and Rory left. Where do we like playing them? Okay. So the good news is you can like play these guys anywhere, right? So your natural choices for Rahm are any major or the Memorial or a playoff event like BMW Championship. Okay. He can play basically anywhere. Also depends on what your league does with the Tour Championship. Rory, your likely Rory options are similar. Any major, Wells Fargo, or a playoff event. Especially if your league does the Tour Championship. He shreds Eastlake. Is there a high likelihood of a one and done here? I'm really interested in betting the plus 200 odds that there will not be a one and done. Well, I mean, we've only played here one other time. I do not know what I don't know what happened last year, but three of the par threes are pretty long, 195 and longer. I don't know the answer to that. If you had 1 million subs, your Wednesday chat would be 6 hours. Yeah, I would have to not answer every single question or most of them. Goyo or Nunez? I prefer Nunez. Brandon Matthews falls into the category of Cam Champ, right? Just like I'm going to need to see a little bit more. Anything catch my eye on PrizePicks this week? Yeah, let me pull it up real quick. So here's the board over at PrizePicks. So this is round 1 strokes that I'm looking at right now. The Rogers under and the Akshay over were the most interesting ones for me. I'm a believer in Rogers. I think that Akshay can get going in the wrong direction pretty quickly and things can start going sideways. Those would be the two that I liked the most. There was also some birdie or better matchups where we've seen these over the years where you just get, now this week, not as much because there's a lot of bad players in this field, but someone like Kevin Chappell over Charlie Hoffman. There was also another one up here. Oh, Højgaard over Will Gordon. Like those are two that have my attention. So you can build a couple of these. I have a bonus for them as well. It's $100. Code is Rick. Link in the description. You can use that immediately. All right. I think that'll do it. Hit the like button. Make sure you're subscribed. Sign up for RickRunGood.com. Sign up for my free newsletter. Do all those things that I'm supposed to ask you for. I'm going to go eat lunch right now. We will do a Jock Market Power Hour tonight, Joe Idoni and myself at 8:15 p.m. Eastern Time. So that'll be your last chance Wednesday night to get involved and ask questions and stuff like that. It'll be in a new game. It'll be pretty cool. And then I am on the road tomorrow. I got to drive to Vegas tomorrow, and I'll see you guys then. Goodbye.